The Noble Eightfold Path is often referred to as the heart of Buddhist teachings. It is not just a set of instructions or a philosophical concept, but a practical guide designed to help us navigate life's inevitable challenges with wisdom, ethical conduct, and mental discipline. This path offers a way to overcome suffering and achieve a state of peace and enlightenment. But how can we relate these ancient teachings to our fast-paced, modern lives? The world we live in today is filled with distractions, stress, and confusion. Many of us find ourselves caught in cycles of frustration, anxiety, and dissatisfaction, constantly striving for happiness, but rarely finding lasting fulfillment. If you've ever felt the weight of these struggles, then the teachings of the Noble Eightfold Path might offer you a profound way to understand and transcend them. The path is often compared to a map, showing us the way out of suffering and toward a life of balance, clarity, and joy. At its core, the Eightfold Path offers a holistic approach to life. It addresses our thoughts, actions, speech, and mental states, everything that shapes our experience of the world. Unlike external solutions that focus on quick fixes or temporary relief, the Eightfold Path teaches us to change the way we perceive and interact with the world. It's about transforming our hearts and minds, cultivating a deep sense of inner peace, and learning how to live in harmony with others. But perhaps the most powerful aspect of the Eightfold Path is that it is not something you need to accept blindly. It invites you to explore and experiment with these teachings in your own life, to see for yourself how they can lead to real, lasting transformation. Whether you are a beginner in your spiritual journey or someone seeking deeper wisdom, the Noble Eightfold Path has something to offer everyone. It is not about achieving perfection overnight. It's about taking consistent steps, cultivating mindfulness, and gradually letting go of the habits and patterns that no longer serve us. In this journey, you won't be alone. Every step of the path is a gradual unfolding of wisdom and compassion, and each element supports the others. As you develop a deeper understanding of the Four Noble Truths, the truth of suffering, its cause, its cessation, and the path to its cessation, you will start to see how your own actions, words, and thoughts create the conditions for peace or suffering. By understanding and practicing the Eightfold Path, you can begin to transform your daily life and bring about positive changes that ripple out into the world around you. So I invite you to join me in exploring this powerful path. Together, let's dive into each element of the Noble Eightfold Path and see how it can guide us toward a life filled with greater understanding, peace, and compassion. The journey may not always be easy, but it is undoubtedly worth it. Section 1, Right Understanding Sammā-ditthi. In the journey toward enlightenment, the very first step is right understanding, or Sammā-ditthi. It serves as the foundation upon which everything else is built. Without this clarity of vision, all the other aspects of the Eightfold Path might feel directionless or disconnected. But what exactly does right understanding mean, and why is it so essential? At its core, right understanding involves seeing the world as it truly is, free from illusion and distortion. It's about understanding the nature of suffering, the causes of suffering, and most importantly, the path that leads to its cessation. This understanding isn't just intellectual knowledge, it's an experiential knowing, something that comes from direct awareness of the way life operates. The Four Noble Truths are the cornerstone of right understanding. They explain the fundamental aspects of human existence: suffering, dukkha, its any cause, craving or attachment, its cessation, nirvana, and the path leading to its end, the Noble Eightfold Path. To truly understand these truths is to see that suffering isn't just an occasional inconvenience, but an inherent part of the human condition. Birth, aging, sickness, and death, these are unavoidable aspects of life. The question then is not how to avoid suffering altogether, which is impossible, but how to transform our relationship with it. One of the key insights that come with right understanding is the concept of impermanence, anicca. Everything in life is in constant flux. Our thoughts, emotions, physical sensations, and even the circumstances around us. Nothing lasts forever. This realization helps to loosen our attachment to things that we think will bring us lasting happiness, whether it's material possessions, status, or relationships. By understanding that all things are temporary, we can begin to free ourselves from the grasping and clinging that cause so much pain. Another essential part of right understanding is the recognition of dependent origination, paticca samuppada. This teaching highlights how all phenomena arise due to causes and conditions. Nothing exists in isolation. Everything is interconnected. Our actions, thoughts, and words create ripple effects that shape our experiences and the world around us. By seeing life through this lens of interdependence, we realize that we are not separate from others or the environment. This understanding fosters compassion as we begin to see that the suffering of others is not disconnected from our own. Right understanding is not a passive acknowledgement of these truths, but an active application in our daily lives. As we reflect on these teachings, we start to make wiser choices. Choices that lead us away from harm and toward greater peace and happiness. It's about moving from a state of confusion and ignorance to one of clear, enlightened insight. This clarity allows us to navigate life with greater ease, accepting its ups and downs without getting swept away by them. In practical terms, right understanding can be cultivated through meditation, study, and mindfulness. By regularly reflecting on the Four Noble Truths, we can begin to see how our actions and mental patterns create suffering. Meditation practices help us quiet the mind, observe our thoughts and emotions without attachment, and experience the impermanence of all things. The more we develop right understanding, the more we can live in alignment with the truth, responding to life with wisdom and compassion, rather than ignorance and reactivity. Section 2, Right Intent, Sammā-sankappa. While right understanding offers the clarity needed to navigate life, right intent is the force that propels us forward on our path. It is the mental attitude, the intention behind our actions, and the direction we choose to follow. Without right intent, even the most skillful actions can become misguided, leading us away from our true purpose. But what does right intent truly mean, and how can we cultivate it? Right intent involves aligning our mental motivations with the wisdom gained through right understanding. It's about setting our intentions toward wholesome goals, goals that lead to personal growth, liberation, and the well-being of others. Essentially, right intent is about moving away from harmful desires and cultivating a mind rooted in renunciation, goodwill, and harmlessness. The first aspect of right intent is renunciation, nekkhamma. This doesn't mean renouncing the world or living a life of complete asceticism, but rather letting go of attachments and desires that bind us to the cycle of suffering. The Buddha taught that craving, whether for material possessions, pleasure, or even ideas and beliefs, leads to suffering. By intentionally releasing our grip on these desires, we begin to break free from the cycle of attachment that causes so much pain. Renunciation, in this sense, is not about rejecting life or withdrawing from the world, but about cultivating a more mindful, balanced relationship with the things we encounter. It's about recognizing that happiness does not lie in accumulating more things or chasing after fleeting pleasures, but in cultivating inner peace and contentment. The second aspect of right intent is goodwill, abhyapada, which is the intention to wish well for all beings. This includes not only friends and family, but also strangers, enemies, and even those who have wronged us. Right intent encourages us to let go of ill will, hatred, and anger, replacing them with loving kindness and compassion. By doing so, we create an inner environment where peace can flourish. When we harbor negative intentions toward others, we only perpetuate suffering, both for ourselves and for the people we direct those thoughts toward. But when we develop goodwill and kindness, we begin to break the cycle of animosity and create an atmosphere of understanding and compassion. The third aspect of right intent is harmlessness, avihimsa, which means cultivating the intention to do no harm, physically, verbally, or mentally. This is closely connected to the concept of ahimsa, which means nonviolence in thought, word, and deed. Harmlessness is not only about refraining from physical violence, but also about abstaining from harmful speech and thoughts that cause suffering to ourselves and others. It is about nurturing an attitude of respect and care for all living beings, recognizing that they too are worthy of happiness and freedom from suffering. In practical terms, right intent can be cultivated through self-reflection and mindfulness. As we go about our daily lives, we must constantly ask ourselves, what are my intentions? Are they rooted in attachment, greed, or hatred? Or are they aligned with wisdom, compassion, and non-harm? By becoming aware of our intentions, we can gradually shift our motivations toward the wholesome, and this shift will begin to manifest in our actions and interactions with others. Right intent also involves a commitment to self-discipline. It's about actively choosing to direct our energy toward positive, beneficial goals. We can begin by setting intentions each day to act with kindness, understanding, and compassion. When we find ourselves tempted by negative emotions or desires, we can use mindfulness to recognize these patterns and let them go. Over time, right intent becomes second nature, shaping our thoughts and actions in ways that bring us closer to the path of enlightenment. By cultivating right intent, we align our inner world with the wisdom of the Eightfold Path. This alignment allows us to live with purpose, clarity, and compassion, and it sets the stage for the subsequent steps on our journey. Right intent, then, is not just about intentions. It's about creating a life that reflects the deepest aspirations of our heart: peace, freedom, and love for all beings. Section 3, Right Speech, Sammā-vācā. Right speech is an essential aspect of the Noble Eightfold Path that has the power to shape not only our relationships with others, but also our internal peace. Words carry immense power. Once spoken, they can never be taken back. Our speech can either uplift or harm, create connections or divisions. Right speech is about ensuring that the words we use contribute positively to our own well-being and the well-being of those around us. The essence of right speech involves speaking truthfully, kindly, and purposefully. It requires mindfulness and a deep awareness of how our words affect the world. The Buddha taught that speech should be rooted in three primary qualities: truthfulness, non-harm, and helpfulness. By cultivating these qualities, we ensure that our words are not only clear and accurate, but also compassionate and constructive. The first aspect of right speech is abstaining from falsehoods, lying, exaggerating, or misleading others. Right speech encourages us to speak truthfully, even when the truth is difficult or uncomfortable. Being truthful doesn't simply mean refraining from outright lies, but also involves speaking with sincerity and integrity. When we are truthful in our speech, we cultivate trust and openness with others, and our words become a force for good in the world. The second aspect is avoiding divisive speech. This involves refraining from words that sow discord, create division, or cause conflict between individuals or groups. Gossiping, backbiting, or speaking ill of others, especially in their absence, is a form of divisive speech. Such words only lead to misunderstanding, hostility, and mistrust. On the other hand, by speaking in ways that encourage harmony and understanding, we contribute to building stronger, more compassionate relationships. It's important to remember that when we speak with empathy and understanding, we can bridge divides rather than deepen them. The third aspect of right speech involves refraining from harsh or abusive language. This includes any speech that is meant to belittle, insult, or harm others. Words that cause emotional pain or humiliation can leave long-lasting scars, far beyond the immediate impact. Instead, right speech encourages us to speak with kindness, patience, and respect. When we choose our words carefully, we create an environment where others feel safe, valued, and respected. The fourth and final aspect of right speech is refraining from frivolous or meaningless talk. This includes engaging in idle chatter, gossip, or discussions that serve no constructive purpose. While it is natural to enjoy casual conversation, right speech calls us to be mindful of when our words serve only to pass the time or indulge in negativity. By focusing on speech that adds value to the situation, whether through meaningful discussion, encouragement, or wisdom, we contribute to creating a positive, peaceful environment. In practical terms, right speech can be cultivated through mindfulness and self-reflection. Before speaking, we can ask ourselves, are these words true? Are they helpful? Are they kind? If the answer to any of these questions is no, we might choose to remain silent instead of speaking. This doesn't mean that we must always be silent, but rather that we should speak with intention, recognizing the power of our words. Over time, with consistent practice, right speech becomes a natural expression of our inner peace and wisdom, allowing us to interact with others in ways that are both honest and compassionate. Section 4, Right Action, Sammā-kammanta. Right action is the fourth step in the Noble Eightfold Path, and it is closely linked to our ability to live in harmony with the world and ourselves. Our actions are the outward expressions of our inner state of mind. Just as right speech influences our relationships with others, right action shapes how we interact with the world through our behavior and conduct. It provides a framework for us to live ethically and responsibly, guided by compassion and wisdom. The essence of right action is rooted in ethical conduct. It encourages us to act in ways that promote peace, well-being, and understanding, while avoiding actions that cause harm to others or ourselves. The Buddhist teachings highlight three main aspects of right action: non-harming, ahimsa, generosity, and ethical responsibility. Each of these plays a vital role in helping us lead a life that is aligned with the principles of the Eightfold Path. The first aspect of right action is non-harming, or ahimsa. This principle encourages us to avoid actions that cause physical, emotional, or mental harm to others. It calls us to practice kindness and respect for all living beings, recognizing that every individual has the right to live free from suffering. Whether through our actions, words, or thoughts, we must strive to create conditions that support life rather than destroy it. This includes avoiding violence, theft, and deceit. By refraining from harmful actions, we foster an environment of safety and peace for all. Generosity is another important aspect of right action. This involves acting with an open heart, giving freely without expectation of reward. Generosity doesn't only refer to material gifts, but also includes acts of kindness, Sammā-vācā, and encouragement. Whether it's offering your time, your energy, or your resources, generosity is an expression of compassion that helps to alleviate the suffering of others. It's also a way to let go of attachment to material possessions and cultivate a sense of interdependence with others. When we act generously, we enrich both our own lives and the lives of those around us. The third aspect of right action is ethical responsibility. This means acting in accordance with moral principles and social norms that contribute to the common good. It involves taking responsibility for our behavior and considering the impact of our actions on the world around us. Right action requires us to be mindful of the choices we make, whether they are small everyday decisions or larger, more significant ones. By adhering to ethical guidelines, we help create a world where justice, fairness, and respect prevail. This may also include following local laws and regulations, as long as they align with the fundamental principles of kindness, compassion, and non-harming. In practical terms, right action can be cultivated by examining our daily actions and making conscious decisions to live in harmony with the ethical precepts of Buddhism. This might mean choosing to refrain from harmful behaviors such as lying, stealing, or causing harm to others. It might also mean consciously practicing acts of kindness and generosity, both big and small. Over time, as we align our actions with our higher values, right action becomes a natural expression of our deeper understanding of the world and our connection to others. By practicing right action, we not only improve our relationships with others, but also contribute to our own peace and happiness. Every action we take either brings us closer to or further from the path of liberation. Therefore, each act of kindness, each moment of ethical conduct, and each conscious choice to avoid harm helps to purify our mind and heart, moving us toward the ultimate goal of enlightenment. Section 5, Right Livelihood, Sammā-ājīva. Right livelihood is the fifth step in the Noble Eightfold Path, and it offers guidance on how we engage with the world in a way that aligns with our ethical and spiritual values. In our modern lives, work plays a significant role, not only in providing for our material needs, but also in shaping our sense of purpose, identity, and well-being. The Buddhist teachings on right livelihood encourage us to choose work that is ethical, beneficial to others, and does not contribute to harm or suffering. At the heart of right livelihood is the idea that our profession should not be based on exploitation, dishonesty, or harm. The Buddha outlined 5 types of occupations to avoid, as they are considered harmful to others and contribute to suffering: trading in weapons, trading in living beings, such as slavery or human trafficking, working as a butcher, selling intoxicants, such as alcohol or drugs, and dealing in poisons. These professions are harmful because they either directly or indirectly contribute to violence, addiction, or exploitation. By avoiding such work, we ensure that our livelihood does not perpetuate harm in the world. However, right livelihood is not limited to avoiding harmful work. It also encourages us to seek out professions that promote positive qualities like kindness, honesty, and service to others. In practical terms, this might mean working in a profession that supports the well-being of others, such as healthcare, teaching, social work, or environmental conservation. It could also mean being in a position that allows you to contribute to the community and make a positive impact on the world around you. In addition to choosing an ethical profession, right livelihood also calls for cultivating integrity and mindfulness in the way we perform our work. It's not just about the job itself, but also about how we approach our work. Are we acting with honesty and fairness? Are we treating our colleagues, clients, and customers with respect and kindness? Are we using our work as a way to develop patience, skill, and compassion? By applying the principles of right livelihood in our day-to-day tasks, we turn every aspect of our work into an opportunity for spiritual growth and ethical conduct. Right livelihood is also about finding balance. It encourages us to avoid overworking ourselves or becoming consumed by the pursuit of material wealth. The Buddha taught that the desire for wealth and success can lead to greed and attachment, which in turn leads to suffering. Right livelihood, therefore, invites us to reflect on our relationship with work and money. It challenges us to ask ourselves, does our work align with our values? Are we using our time and energy in ways that contribute to our well-being and the well-being of others? Are we becoming too attached to our job or our income? Living according to right livelihood requires us to cultivate mindfulness and discernment. It asks us to align our actions with our values and to find fulfillment not in external achievements or material wealth, but in the way we engage with the world. It reminds us that true wealth comes not from accumulating possessions, but from living a life of purpose, integrity, and kindness. By consciously choosing a livelihood that is in harmony with the principles of the Eightfold Path, we contribute to our own growth and the growth of the world around us. Section 6, Right Effort, Sammā-vāyāma. Right effort is the sixth step of the Noble Eightfold Path, and it plays a pivotal role in our spiritual development. The Buddha recognized that the mind is a powerful force. Its habits, tendencies, and states of being shape our experiences and our interactions with the world. Right effort is the practice of actively cultivating positive mental qualities and abandoning negative ones. It is not about exerting force or willpower in an aggressive way, but about making a sustained, mindful effort to transform the mind for the better. Right effort involves 4 key aspects, each of which is designed to help us gradually move away from unwholesome states of mind and toward wholesome ones. The first aspect is preventing unwholesome states from arising. This involves recognizing negative mental states, such as greed, hatred, and delusion, before they take root and influence our thoughts and actions. By cultivating awareness and mindfulness, we can notice when these negative states begin to arise and take steps to prevent them from growing stronger. For example, when we notice feelings of anger or jealousy, we can acknowledge them without judgment and consciously choose to let them go, preventing them from affecting our actions and speech. The second aspect of right effort is abandoning unwholesome states that have already arisen. Even if negative emotions or mental states have already taken hold, we can still work to let them go. This is where mindfulness and meditation play a key role. Through meditation, we learn to observe our thoughts and emotions without attachment. When we notice that a negative state, like anger or frustration, has taken hold, we can practice releasing it by focusing on our breath, using loving-kindness meditation, or simply allowing the thought to fade away without feeding it with further attention. The third aspect of right effort is generating wholesome states that have not yet arisen. In addition to eliminating negative mental states, right effort encourages us to actively cultivate positive mental qualities, such as kindness, patience, and compassion. This can be done through meditation, reflective practices, and setting positive intentions. For example, we might practice loving-kindness meditation, metta bhavana, to generate feelings of goodwill and compassion toward ourselves and others. By intentionally nurturing these wholesome states, we strengthen our ability to respond to life's challenges with wisdom and compassion. The fourth aspect of right effort is maintaining wholesome states that have already arisen. Once we have cultivated positive qualities such as mindfulness, compassion, or inner peace, it is important to maintain them over time. This requires consistent effort and commitment. It involves being mindful of our thoughts and actions so that we continue to act in ways that reinforce our positive mental states. For example, if we've developed a sense of inner calm through meditation, we need to continue practicing mindfulness throughout the day to maintain that calm, even in stressful situations. Right effort, in many ways, is about training the mind. Just as we train a muscle through regular exercise, we train the mind through consistent effort and practice. It requires patience, perseverance, and dedication. But the rewards are immense. By cultivating right effort, we gradually transform our minds into more peaceful, loving, and wise instruments. This doesn't mean that we will never experience negative emotions, but it does mean that we will have the tools and awareness to deal with them skillfully and with compassion. In practical terms, right effort can be cultivated through regular mindfulness practice, meditation, and self-reflection. Each time we encounter a challenging situation or a difficult emotion, we have the opportunity to apply right effort, choosing to let go of negative thoughts, cultivate positive intentions, and maintain a balanced, mindful approach. Over time, as we practice right effort, we begin to experience greater mental clarity, emotional stability, and spiritual growth. It is through this continuous, mindful effort that we gradually move closer to liberation and enlightenment. Section 7, Right Mindfulness, Sammā-sati. Right mindfulness is the seventh step in the Noble Eightfold Path, and it is often considered one of the most transformative practices. Mindfulness is the art of being fully present in each moment, of observing your thoughts, feelings, sensations, and actions without judgment or distraction. In today's fast-paced world, it's easy to become caught up in the noise of our thoughts or lost in the constant stream of tasks and responsibilities. Right mindfulness calls us to slow down, to cultivate awareness, and to be present with whatever arises in our experience. At the core of right mindfulness is the practice of being deeply aware of the present moment. This involves paying attention to our bodies, our feelings, our thoughts in the nature of reality itself. Instead of being swept away by our emotions or consumed by the constant cycle of past regrets and future worries, right mindfulness teaches us to observe what is happening in the here and now with clear, non-judgmental awareness. Right mindfulness involves four main areas of focus: the body, feelings, mind, and mental objects, or phenomena. These four foundations of mindfulness help us cultivate a deep understanding of the impermanent and interconnected nature of all things. The first foundation is mindfulness of the body. This involves being aware of bodily sensations, posture, movement, and breath. By paying attention to the sensations in our body, we can become more attuned to the present moment. This practice is often incorporated into meditation, where the focus is placed on the breath. Mindfulness of the body helps us stay grounded, especially during stressful or overwhelming moments, reminding us to return to the body and focus on our breath to regain balance. The second foundation is mindfulness of feelings. This refers to being aware of the emotions and sensations that arise in each moment. Feelings may be pleasant, unpleasant, or neutral, but right mindfulness teaches us to observe them without attachment or aversion. Instead of getting caught up in our emotional reactions, we learn to notice them and allow them to come and go naturally. This practice helps us avoid being ruled by our emotions and cultivates emotional intelligence, enabling us to respond with more clarity and composure. The third foundation is mindfulness of the mind. This involves being aware of the state of our mind at any given time, whether it is calm, restless, focused, distracted, or confused. Mindfulness of the mind helps us recognize the patterns of thought that arise and understand how they influence our actions and emotions. By observing our mental states, we can identify the causes of our suffering, such as delusion, attachment, or aversion, and work to transform them into positive qualities like clarity, insight, and equanimity. The fourth foundation is mindfulness of mental objects, or phenomena. This refers to being aware of the objects of our consciousness, our thoughts, perceptions, and mental formations. By observing the nature of our thoughts and perceptions, we begin to see their impermanent and conditioned nature. This helps us understand that our thoughts and beliefs are not fixed truths, but fluid phenomena that arise due to various causes and conditions. Through this awareness, we gain insight into the nature of reality and begin to loosen our attachment to our thoughts and mental constructs. In practical terms, right mindfulness can be cultivated through meditation. particularly mindfulness meditation, Sammā-ājīva. However, mindfulness is not confined to meditation. It can be applied in every aspect of daily life. Whether we are eating, walking, talking, or working, we can practice mindfulness by paying attention to the present moment, letting go of distractions, and observing our thoughts and feelings with a gentle, accepting awareness. Over time, as we cultivate right mindfulness, we become more grounded, more aware, and more present in our lives. This leads to greater peace, clarity, and understanding, allowing us to navigate the challenges of life with greater ease. Section 8, Right Concentration, Sammā-samādhi. Right concentration is the 8th and final step in the Noble Eightfold Path, and it represents the culmination of our efforts toward mental discipline and spiritual growth. While right mindfulness focuses on cultivating awareness of the present moment, right concentration focuses on developing deep states of meditative absorption, jhana, and concentration. Right concentration allows us to bring the mind into a state of profound focus, free from distraction, and it plays a key role in the development of wisdom and insight. At its core, right concentration is the practice of training the mind to focus on a single object of meditation, such as the breath, a mantra, or a visualization. When the mind is fully concentrated, it becomes still and clear, free from the clutter of thoughts, distractions, and emotional disturbances. This deep state of concentration is essential for gaining insight into the true nature of reality, as it allows us to see things clearly and directly without the interference of our habitual mental patterns. The Buddha described 4 stages of concentration, known as the 4 jhanas, each of which represents a progressively deeper state of meditative absorption. In the first jhana, the mind is focused and calm, with a sense of joy and ease. In the second jhana, the joy becomes more refined, and the meditator experiences deep inner peace. In the third jhana, the meditator experiences a sense of contentment and equanimity, free from the fluctuation of joy and sorrow. In the fourth jhana, the mind reaches a state of perfect stillness and purity, free from all mental disturbances. While these jhanas are profound states of concentration, they are not the ultimate goal of the Buddhist path. Rather, they serve as a foundation for the cultivation of insight, vipassana. With right concentration, the mind becomes clear and calm, making it possible to penetrate the deeper truths of existence, such as impermanence, suffering, and non-self. This insight leads to wisdom, prajna, which is the key to liberation from suffering. Right concentration is not something that can be achieved overnight. It requires consistent practice, patience, and effort. Meditation is the primary tool for developing concentration, and it is through regular practice that the mind gradually becomes more focused and disciplined. As we progress in our practice, we learn to let go of distractions, cultivate deeper states of concentration, and gain insights into the nature of the mind and reality. In practical terms, right concentration can be developed through a variety of meditation techniques, including breath meditation, loving kindness meditation, metta bhavana, and insight meditation, vipassana. The key is to find a practice that works for you and to commit to it with dedication and consistency. As you deepen your practice, you will notice that your mind becomes more stable, more focused, and more resilient to the ups and downs of life. The benefits of right concentration are not limited to meditation. They extend to all aspects of life, helping us to respond with greater clarity, wisdom, and compassion. Ultimately, right concentration leads to a profound state of inner peace and wisdom, which forms the foundation for the final goal of the Buddhist path, liberation from suffering. Through concentration and insight, we come to understand the true nature of reality, free from delusion and attachment. In this way, right concentration is an essential step on the path to enlightenment, bringing us closer to the ultimate freedom from suffering and the realization of our true nature. Conclusion: living the Noble Eightfold Path. The Noble Eightfold Path is a timeless and transformative guide, offering practical wisdom and profound teachings that lead us toward the ultimate goal of liberation, freedom from suffering and the realization of enlightenment. It is not just a set of abstract principles, but a way of living, a way of being that we can integrate into our daily lives. Each section of the path, from right understanding to right concentration, works in harmony with the others, providing us with the tools to transform our thoughts, speech, actions, and mental habits cultivating a life of balance, wisdom, and compassion. As we have explored, the path begins with right understanding, which provides us with the clarity needed to navigate the complexities of life. This understanding forms the foundation for right intent, guiding our motivations to be aligned with kindness, goodwill, and renunciation. Right speech and right action then ensure that our words and actions are in harmony with our values, promoting peace and ethical conduct in the world around us. Right livelihood reminds us that our work should reflect our ethical values, contributing to the well-being of others rather than perpetuating harm. With right effort, we learn to actively cultivate positive mental states and abandon unwholesome ones, engaging in the mental discipline necessary for personal transformation. Right mindfulness trains us to be present in each moment, observing our thoughts and emotions with clarity, while right concentration helps us develop a focused, calm mind that can penetrate the deepest truths of existence. In applying the Noble Eightfold Path, we are called not to achieve perfection, but to make consistent, mindful efforts toward positive change. It is a path of gradual transformation, one that demands patience, dedication, and self-reflection. But through each step, we move closer to living a life that is free from the chains of craving, ignorance, and suffering. We become more compassionate, more aware, and more at peace with ourselves and the world around us. This path is accessible to everyone, regardless of where we are in our spiritual journey. Whether we are beginners or experienced practitioners, the teachings of the Eightfold Path offer us a way to cultivate wisdom, ethical conduct, and mental discipline in our daily lives. It is a universal guide, one that helps us to understand the root causes of our suffering and provides a clear and direct path to overcome it. As we continue our journey, let us remember that the Noble Eightfold Path is not a destination but a practice, one that unfolds over time, in every moment, with every choice we make. By walking this path with sincerity and commitment, we can create a life of peace, joy, and wisdom, and ultimately experience the freedom that comes with true understanding and liberation. May the teachings of the Noble Eightfold Path inspire you to walk your own path with mindfulness and compassion, leading to a life of greater happiness, peace, and enlightenment.